Welcome everyone to another Moz Play video. This is Moz Mojito, and today we're going to be playing Sunken Land. Now this is a game that I've played previously, and I've actually got pretty decently far along, but we're going to be starting a new game here and diving in literally and just starting off fresh just to get kind of a foundation for how the game plays. Maybe later on we may be continuing on with my previous save and just continuing on from there. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the character selection. Now there's not a lot of models to choose from, and this is kind of the model that I've been really going with. So you have the male and female models here, but the first guy that you saw on screen, I think that is the model that I'm pretty much going to stick to. So we'll go ahead and just name this guy number 2, just because number 1 is my main save. And again, we're just starting a fresh game just so we can kind of show the foundations for how we started and how far we got. So yeah, let's just go ahead and go through this character selection. I prefer to have my character shaved head or short hair. So like I said, there's not a lot of options here. Maybe as the game continues to get developed, they'll add more options for character creation. But for now, this is what we have. So we'll go ahead and get started with a new world. You can play online with other players, but I prefer to do this and usually do co-op with friends. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's how we start off. Very little backstory to this game. You can look in your inventory. You can find a logbook to kind of show that you were a kid and something happened, and now you're trying to survive at this point. The world is pretty much covered by water. This is a la Waterworld, the movie, but you have pieces of dry land that is above the waterland, but this is pretty much how you start off. All the things in the distance are different points of interest that are usually buried with the major, bigger parts underneath the water. So we're gonna start off. This is like Castaway Island, I believe, kind of like a beginner zone, but we're gonna go ahead and scavenge and loot. Food and water are important in the game, so we definitely want to make sure we go around and get that. Here's kind of like a little starter box. What I like to do is use it as storage because it doesn't go away until you completely empty it. The rubber ducky with the trophy symbol is just really something you can sell or just use to decorate when you build a base. So obviously everything that has F or highlights are things that you can interact with. This is first person. I have not seen an option to play third person yet, so this is the large map. All the question marks are things that you can discover, key points of interest, and obviously you're starting off wherever your green arrow is. That's your position on the map. So as you can see, there's a pretty big crafting selection here. Your typical building selection, tool selection. These are all things that you will unlock as you play the game. You can even pin a recipe so you can kind of keep track of the different things you need for that item. But these are the basic 4 things you want to start off with to get the game going. Majority of the materials, the trees is going to give you wood, and the metal scraps is going to be underwater usually. Now the old washer dryer machines are usually going to give you cloth and scrap metal. The things with the axe symbol on it means you need to have a axe in hand to chop it up for wood. And you have to definitely keep an eye on your O2 bar because that goes down really fast, especially early game. We're going to go ahead and mess with our settings a little bit to make sure we adjust the volume because we don't want it blasting out people's eardrums with the music. So we got a full oxygen bar, so we're going to go around and take a look. A lot of these kind of things will be scrap metal. And scrap metal and wood are probably 2 of the most common things that you're going to be able to pick up in the game. The vehicles are usually pretty much all scrap metal. So we're going to continue to swim around here while keeping an eye on our O2 bar. Make sure you look up above the water line, start filling it up like I just did not do. And piles like this are usually going to be all scrap metal. Okay, so we're going to fill up our water bar here and head back down. And pick up the scrap metal. And now we have a building here. Now all this clearing that I'm doing around Castaway Island is going to be usually medicine cabinets here. You're going to have some kind of medical aid, bandages or antibiotics. And refrigerators usually going to have food in there, or you're going to get some seeds or whatever. So more items to chop. And we got to get that O2 because you'll start seeing your health drop down real fast and you'll pass out. So this is Castaway Island. All the things that I'm looting and searching right now is starting to increase the percentage of which I've explored Castaway Island. The toolboxes usually have really good items in there, components, duct tape, usually a tool or 2, and cloth and metal. So definitely you want to loot these kind of things. More lumber, more lumber. Now, I believe the percentage points for discovering the area does not increase until you clear everything. That means looting everything. That means chopping everything up that can't be chopped. So we're going to continue to do that, but we're limited on how much space we have in our inventory until we find a backpack or make one. More scrap. And our oxygen is really low, so we need to go refill. Now the red here, you can even loot that. That gives you a little bit of health points back. So now we're going to look at the second floor of this place. Some more food. Usually the stoves and refrigerators are good for giving you food. So here's another pile of scrap metal. Some laundry and some wood. So we're going to get some cloth out of this. And we're full, so that's when you'll start seeing items just kind of float in the air. Now I can continue looting this just to have all the items float in the air, just to get a completion percentage point. And as you can see, I'm starting to black out. Okay, so back on the island, we did have that little storage box. We're gonna use that to hold some of our excess loot. and obviously use any medical aid to get our health back up. Chop a couple trees down so we can get some lumber, because that's gonna, we got enough scrap metal for a crude axe, but we need lumber now, and rope. And the rope is gonna come from converting the cloth we find into rope. Okay, so we need to do something to free up space in our inventory. We're looking for something to craft. That'll probably take up some resources. And we can also move stuff to our hotbar. That'll also free up some slots in our inventory. Definitely gonna need some rope, so we'll go ahead and start crafting that up. And then that should unlock some more tools that we have panned for building. Now the crude axe is gonna be better than the stone axe, which you start off with, so you really don't need to carry that anymore. As you can see, it chops a lot faster too and a lot better. So we're gonna go ahead and get some more wood here. Just kind of go around, pick up some resources. And like I said, I'm gonna use this box as just kind of an overflow. Okay, so now that we have some items stashed away and some free space in our inventory, we're just gonna go ahead and swim around and explore and try to get some more loot. Overturned truck will usually give us a little bit more than just scrap metal, so we'll see what we get. In this case, nothing but scrap metal. Sometimes we get a tire out of it, some rubber. Okay, so that's one of the many question marks we talked about on the map that we just discovered. Okay, so with that pickaxe I just made, now we can go and mine the brightly colored rocks that you may see under the water, like this one. And you can tell it's mineable and not just decoration because it actually had the pickaxe symbol on it. So in this case, where this is all sulfur. Okay, so we're gonna head towards that island, see what we can find out over there. I think it's pretty much dominated by mutants. If you're quick enough, you can actually stab these marlins. Hit them a couple times, they'll drop marlin meat and skin, which you need to make flippers so you can move faster. But you also have to watch out for sharks in the raw water because they're pretty aggressive. Okay, so we got our bow and arrow out, and we already see some bad guys here roaming. We will have to clear all these guys out in order to take over this island. I do not know if they respawn back. From what I've seen from previous playthroughs, once you clear an island, they pretty much stay away. This may potentially be a good spot where we can set up our first base. The only thing we will have to worry about is the raids that may occur. So I'm going to work on clearing these guys out from range. The sun's starting to go down, so it's going to make it a little bit harder to fight these guys in the dark because they're already dark colored, other than what you see around the campfire. But as you can see, it takes a lot of arrows to take one guy down, only because the bow and arrow is like one of the weakest weapons in the game when you first start. But you will get better weapons as you go on, like a crossbow and regular guns. That's going to be a lot easier and better to take down bad guys with. So for now, we're just going to work with what we got since we're just starting off. Okay, so we got all our stuff back. Like I said, fighting in the dark is very hard, and the bow and arrow is not a very strong weapon, so that's why the person with the shield was able to take me out. So now I'm dealing with not only half health because I respawned, but I'm also freezing. So gonna see if I can build like a torch or something so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, obviously, while I was going through and managing my loot, there was a bad guy that snuck up and took me out. So here we go. We're dead again. So we're gonna go ahead and respawn and swim back to the body. But the good thing is this time the sun is actually coming up, so I won't be surprise attacked in the dark anymore. Okay, so those crossbows I was telling you about that you can pick up, they do a pretty decent amount of damage, and you can get those from either drops or crafting them yourself. So we're gonna try to take out the rest of the bad guys here on the island now that we can actually see them and the sun's up. Okay, so we're gonna get some wood here because we're really short on arrows. I only have 2 left, so we're gonna maximize those so that we have some ammunition to fight these guys off with. Okay. So I was trying to switch to my spear, but for some reason I got caught in the bow and arrow animation, so yet another death. So rinse and repeat, respawn, swim back to the body, kill the rest of the bad guys. So these guys on this floating base are shooting at me because I'm getting too close. That'll be another question mark that we'll clear. That's not a bad base to take over actually, but we're gonna focus on the island because it has a lot more land that you can claim. Okay, so I think that might be the last bad guy on the island. I'm gonna walk around, double check, make sure. And if it is, we're gonna start looking to clear out this place loot wise. Oh, there's one straggler. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little pokey poke. And they're down. Okay. I believe that's the one that killed me last time because it got too close and I couldn't switch to my spear in time. But yeah, I think that was the last one. So now we're gonna go around, see what we can loot. But I think this will be a good place to put down some roots and start building the building. And then the only thing we'll have to worry about is any raids that potentially might happen as you build up your base. So yeah, we'll take a look. We'll explore this island a little bit, and then probably look to take a pause and continue on in the future with either building up this island or maybe switching to a more current save that I have and continuing from there. So for now, let's just kind of look around the island and see what we can find. So if I can somehow get up there on top, that'd probably be a good place to build. I could also build around this area. Looks like we have some food here. We got a blueprint here that now is something that we can craft. We got a couple trophy here, and the trophies are really for decoration or for selling to the vendor. We also got some broken items that can be repaired or converted into some working items. Actually, the vendor items are usually going to have the dollar symbol next to them, so at least we have some gloves and some pants. And now we'll go around look. Now remember, as I said earlier, this percentage complete does not go up until you actually loot everything, and if there's something that needs to be chopped up for wood, chopping that for wood also counts towards the complete percentage point for discovering this POI. As you can see, it's still marked red, and that's usually just an indicator that it's enemy territory. Let's see if I can get up there somehow. Okay, so I guess not. Looks like the way's blocked. Be nice to build up there though. Okay, with a lot of these games, you have to claim the land before you can actually start putting things down. So we'll find where to build the land claim flag, and then we'll go ahead and claim this area. Okay, so I think we're at a pretty good We're at 15% complete. We can come back in another video and continue farming this island out, but I think this is going to be a good stopping point. And in the next video, we're going to either continue to build up this place or load a old save and continue from there. So thank you for watching. As always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.